Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
What's up, knuckleheads?
Hey guys, this is Ken Ramos.
Hello, military community.
What's up, Warriors? I'm Greg.
2020 has been a crazy year.
But along with our friends at Honey and Team Rubicon,
we can help you end it on a high note.
Honey is a free shopping tool that can automatically apply discounts when you shop online.
And Team Rubicon is a veteran-led nonprofit that provides aid to those hit hardest by the pandemic, hurricanes, and other disasters of 2020.
So to support Team Rubicon's amazing disaster relief work,
Honey is donating $1 for every one of you who download and install their free shopping tool.
This mission won't cost you a penny.
In fact, the average Honey user saves more than $125 a year.
And you'll help Team Rubicon help communities in crisis.
What's the catch?
There is no catch.
Honey makes a commission. It comes from the place you shop.
Not from you.
This is a no-brainer.
It's easy.
It's free.
You help donate to a great veteran-led nonprofit.
And you save a bunch of money. Cha-ching.
So this holiday season,
download and install.
Donate and save.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us as we team up for Team Rubicon.
You get to see somebody who's never been around.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former interns tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah, you said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Remember last week I gave the wrong date on air. Freaked everybody out.
I know. Would you put us back in time?
Spanky ran ran buckshot on my face and shooting me and getting mad and going nuts in the gunner seat. Hit me in the head, saying,
"Look, you're allowed to spring forward into 2021.
Yeah." She was like,
"Don't put us back."
She's like, "What the hell are you doing, man?" I was like, "Look, I forgot. I thought you were making it sound like it's almost Thanksgiving or yeah." And I was like, you know what? Did I really sound like that? So then I restarted the show real quick, and then that was it. Yeah. So I did flash us forward in time. So I was like, holy crap. Man. So again, welcome to WTF Nation Radio's Monday edition with myself and Flash. It is the 16th of November in the year of our COVID dumpster fire 2020. And we still don't know who the president is yet. Did you got any deets, Flash, on who who's Dietrich, or we got any presidents or something like that? What's going on? What's your take on all this?
So currently, Joe Biden and if you listen to the media, President-elect Joe Biden and his Vice President Kamala Harris are doing their they're doing their victory lap. They're doing a lot of they've got the transition team going. They're talking about different things they want to do with the economy. Apparently, if you're thinking about we're leaving Afghanistan, apparently,
I guess what we're gonna go. We're having some freaking Infinity War or something like that again. Or is that a?
Apparently, we're not going anywhere.
You're like, obviously we're not leaving Afghanistan. So there you go.
Yeah. It was announced that he'd like to actually surge more. Apparently, it was like something like surging more troops into Afghanistan, which I'm like,
is that like a duffel blog article? Are you sure? Are you like going off of a duffel blog article, or is that legit? Is that for real?
No, that I got this as a news alert. I think it was yesterday from CNN. So we'll see what happens exactly with that. He's not the president until the presidential commission and everything, certify, the states certify, which, majority of them haven't, because they haven't finished counting all the ballots. Now, The media is already calling it Donald Trump. A lot of people are thinking that this potentially could be 2000 repeat with Al Gore. I just think there's too many states.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm back, bitches.
I just think I think there's too many states in play. But there are in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Georgia, North Carolina, not in Virginia. I'm sorry, in Pennsylvania and Arizona. There's actually there's recounts happening. I know there's recounts happening in Georgia, and there's litigation in different states. The Trump administration is fighting it. They want every vote that's supposed to count. The Democrats just want every vote counted.
Supposed to count.
There's a lot of spook stuff. From you're seeing a lot of conservative media talking about how this is ballots. The machines were switched and like 128,000 votes went from Republican to Democrat. So it's hard to wade through this quagmire of misinformation and just get through it. As of right now,
hang on, let's see. We got a caller right now. Hang on. Yeah. Okay. WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air.
What's going on? Speaking about all this presidential stuff,
I
think it's going to come down to the 12th Amendment.
Go on. Enlighten the audience on what the 12th Amendment is.
Okay, well, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but long story short, when elections get contested, as long as Trump does not concede, this pattern now happens of it gets contested, it goes to the Supreme Court. If there's no filings, it then goes to the House of Representatives. Now, this is where I could be wrong. As far as I know, each state gets one vote out of the 400 and something members of the House. Each state gets one vote. Dick Tracy, the president has 30 states, so he should get 30 votes. Biden's only going to end up with 20.
Is that your take? Is that what you think? Is that what you think is going to happen?
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
But the 12th Amendment is just basically, if the election gets contested in a marginal matter and there's no means to an end, the election then goes to the House of Representatives.
And that is certainly one possibility that could happen.
Well, thank you, caller. Appreciate it.
Later.
All right. Peace.
Whether that's going to happen is another story. I don't know. I think if it was any other president, I think we would have heard a concession speech already. I think because it's Donald Trump, I don't know. I mean, it possibly could be. I mean, it's weird that we haven't, but again, 2000 wasn't, was only 20 years ago, and we had an issue. But remember, it was one state, not several states.
Right.
One state might have some issues, but it's hard to imagine turning over Arizona, Pennsylvania, even if you flip Georgia and Pennsylvania, then I think Trump wins. But it's too many variables happening that it makes it hard to think that Trump's going to come out of this winning. But hey, but I am not the certifier, so whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You just got to have just don't know when it's going to be. We potentially could go longer than in the 2000. I think like 36 days until we actually found out that W was going to be our president. This could be longer.
It went for a longer too. Now, here's the thing. And since we're jumping around, I think me and Jay already talked about this a long time ago too, when we were doing some constitutional knowledge, and we went by the Bill of Rights and stuff like that. The constitutional text, of course, requires that a group of electors, what's called the Electoral College, like the caller said, and then those are the ones that choose the president. It's not a popular vote. It is the Electoral College, and so if a majority of the electors fail to agree on the winner, then the Congress picks the winner in elections within the Congress under the terms of the 12th Amendment. So Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution requires two steps in the general election and an electoral college process of excellence. You know what I mean? And so part of the election law to begin with is that requires the states to send in their electoral votes to Congress no later than December 23rd, 2020. So we would have had to been waiting anyways. We would have been I mean, on the back end, we're seeing the sausage being made right now. Is what we're not seeing all the, you know what I mean? Because all the stuff that you hear, like you said, we would normally have had, Flash, you're correct, a president concede and it'd been over and done with, and we've been good to go. Yada yada, hubba hubba. Who do you trust? That'd have been it, right? That'd have been the end of the story. But there's so much now. I think it's almost like you were saying. It's like there's so many laws that are so intertwined that I think that people are now realizing. It's almost like that unknown regulation that you knew that you just didn't realize in the Army, and you realize, holy shit.
Yeah, it's that one random one. It's like, oh,
yeah.
So here's some trivia for you. Well, I guess well, not trivia. Let's. I'm gonna ask you a question. How many times do you think Congress has had to decide a president?
Oh, well, wow. Well, I mean, being the fact that I have been I'm aged to perfection, I don't recall.
Really old.
I don't recall in my lifetime that's been.
It's definitely not been in your lifetime, and I can tell you it's happened only twice. The House has had to elect the president. It happened in 1801 and 1825, and the Senate has had to chose the vice president only once in 1837.
Yeah, see, so I wasn't.
That's how long ago it's been since
I was born.
Had,
I was born.
This kind of issue.
I was born just recently after, so yeah, you're right. It wasn't in my lifetime.
But you have to remember, there's also 1825. There's a ton less people who are voting. But you also had to get you also had to get votes from all these states, and did they even have the telegraph at that point? 1825.
No, I don't think they did yet. I doubt that they had.
I know we didn't have the phone, but
No.
I think no, because this is pre-Civil War, so we didn't have the telegraph. I don't believe.
Tina's right. They should send them to BCAP. That's what I'm talking about. Make them do an ACFT. See how many leg tucks they can do. I bet you Biden could do some kick ass. I mean, I bet you he can kick ass.
I think
leg
Biden
tucks.
could with the his blonde hairy legs and everything. I'm sorry. You know what?
Go ahead.
I'll put it. I'm going to say this. After I'm not a big Biden fan, and I watched his I won speech. I guess is the best way to put it. Was it 2 weekend? Was not last Saturday, but the Saturday before. And you know what? I won't lie. It was a bit refreshing. Now, I 100% hope the Republicans are able to win the 2 seats in Georgia, so they can hold on to the Senate, so nothing extremely crazy comes out, because it's nice to have that roadblock. But it was nice to have somebody that. It's just been so long since I could understand somebody without going, it's huge, it's great. That guy, I don't know if I like him. It was nice to hear like tangible thoughts, because apparently somebody gave him enough to wake him up so he didn't stutter. But I still will never get over
tangible.
Some of the cringiest,
dude.
some of the cringiest moments of Biden.
I don't think it's almost. And we talked about this before. I think we talked this. I think me and you talked about this offline when we were going through all this drama.
Joe Jorgensen.
Yeah, Joe Jorgensen. Yeah. The thing is that I think had he just stuck to he would have just stopped his ego. I don't mind being a savage. That's not the issue. It's like when we're dropping. If he was dropping more of his achievements and dropping more instead of saying, I don't know. There's a couple of times where you could be savage so much where then all of a sudden it's no longer sustainable, to where you just sound like, okay, got it. Yeah, SEAL Team 6. Yeah, I created that. No, dude. You know what I mean? It's almost like it kept on going. It seemed like everything just kept going to ramble. There are just some things that you just don't have to add to a conversation, especially when you're teleprompted. Why even have a fucking speechwriter if you're not even gonna go by it? You're just gonna go teleprompt. I just like, fuck, hey, Treasy, I'm out. Why are you gonna have me? Or if you're not gonna have,
I think we talked a lot about how Hillary Clinton lost to the 2016 election. And let's talk a little bit. Assuming everything stands, because things can change.
Of course.
Let's talk why Donald Trump lost. And I think you hit it on the head. Much of his campaigning has been complaining, saying everything is unfair, saying that Joe Biden, this, that. And when I was talking to my wife, and we were before the election, we were having a conversation of who we're going to vote for, and I talked about Joe Biden. He's been in Congress he's been in politics like 47 years, and all this stuff like that, and the bills that he's done, they were good, and or legislation that he had his fingerprint on that were good, and the legislation that I definitely didn't agree with, like the crime bill and stuff like that, and some of the words he said. And then we did the same thing with Donald Trump. And, President Trump, the biggest thing I hear from people is I just can't, if he wasn't on Twitter so much saying stupid things and fighting and arguing like a child, because if you just lay out his accomplishments, he had a pretty decent presidency.
Yeah,
like
hell yeah,
for 4 years, there was a lot of stuff that got done. A lot of stuff got done regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Agreed.
But unfortunately, when you can't denounce white supremacist groups, which should have been and I said this on the show that one of the aides actually got upset because it was such a softball to say, I denounce white supremacists. You do not belong in my country. You do not belong, in society, because that is not something that represents America. Boom. Could have squashed that. Instead, he did that whole Proud Boys, stand down, stand ready. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. Here's another thing too, though, man. I think as well is that the media were poking the fucking bear. It is because I look at the media and how they treated the past administrations and all that, and the media when the president spoke, he spoke and all that. There was no. Even when W was fucking president and a reporter would ask in a press conference, there would be individuals that'd be like, oh come on man, you can't fucking say that to the president, come on.
The one guy that threw a shoe at him in Iraq.
It wasn't Iraqi, so that's a different story.
Dodged it.
He does, yeah. You missed, bitch.
Missed him twice. He said, you got no more shoes.
Is that exactly? You only got 2 feet. I know how to dodge. But. Yeah, if he started pulling out more shoes, it'd have been a different story.
I love your impression, W.
But the thing is that there was nobody really attacking the president, attacking openly like that, or telling him to shut. Oh come on, because now this is what they're fearing. This is what I was telling you about the pendulum swinging back, because now all this talk about unity and shit, bruh, all this shit it was talked about in unity. It does not. No, December 23rd actually is the election law that requires states to send in their electoral votes to Congress by December 23rd, not the 4th. So he's actually got more time. Anyways, that's pendulum swinging back. Now everyone's look. Now think about it. Think about all those reporters that were attacking D. Treasy. Wait until his first press conference. Should he be finally decided as the winner of the election. See what happens. See what fucking happens when a reporter comes up and acts the way they were acting to D. Treasy, to the president, and then I guarantee it, people now all of a sudden are gonna be like, oh no, you can't say that. Oh no, now everyone's gonna.
No, I'm gonna call it right now. You're gonna see media act the way they used to under President Obama. I think
that's fucked up.
I think because Donald Trump came out from pre-presidency and came out and was just critical of reporters, critical of the people, reporters and journalists and commentators, that I think it just he was attacking them, and I think the industry just said fuck it. Even Fox News at near the end was calling them out on bullshit that they would have been soaked up. And I think that I think now that he's looking like he's out, I find that it's going to go. I think how we do press conferences and decorum and how we're supposed, how journalists are supposed to act, I think it's going to change back to the way it was, because I think it's not going to stand like it used to, because now everyone's on the same team. I do feel like, if somebody just goes rogue and starts asking just off the wall questions to Joe Biden at a press conference, that he's going to end up getting blackballed by NBC or somebody or whoever they work for, because that's not how we operate anymore. I think it was fair game when it was Trump, because he attacked them, so they attacked back.
So what? There's nothing wrong with him being an asshole. That's the thing. I
never said that.
No, I'm saying, but he's the president. He could be an asshole all he fucking wants, but he's still the fucking president. I mean, come on, dude. We can't even get sergeant majors. We can't even get toxic leaders out of the fucking army, and they're still assholes. But we still have to treat them like they're fucking. You know what I mean? We still have to treat them respectively.
Well, there's a difference. And
he's the commander in chief.
In journalism, you don't have to. They're just out for the truth. So if they got to yell and say that, sir, that's not what you said, and argue back, and then the president's going to next press conference going, hey, don't watch CNN, it's trash. I don't understand how they're losing millions of readers and customers and blah blah blah, and they're going to go under and they're horrible. I'm sure I'm not saying anyone's writing it, but W didn't do it, Obama didn't do it, even the Fox News. It's just I think we're going to go back to the way it used to be, which hey, I like it. I think people should just get up and be like, hey, Mr. President, fuck you, because hey, he works for us, not the other way around. Correct. But again, if I'm a reporter, or maybe this is set the new standard where reporters are going to be a little less, cordial.
It'll be no cordial now. Nope. I'm going.
That's not what you said.
I'm going to be no.
The scandals.
You know what? We were joking around and applying for our press credentials. Remember back in the day? Well, now that I'm public, I'm gonna apply for press credentials, and I'm gonna fucking you damn right. I'm gonna do an Acosta. I want to be just like fucking Acosta and ask and treat the president, the new president, and the new vice president the same as Bill Acosta. I mean, because isn't that what they want? Isn't that how we're supposed to be? Because now they let the genie out the fuck.
Guy who was on there who got kicked out of one press conference.
What's that? The what?
That's the guy from Telemundo. That was that was back in 2016.
Oh, I can't remember, dude. Are you talking about?
I think that was right before. I think that was when he was doing his candidacy.
You're talking about Jorge. Yeah, you're talking about Jorge Ramos, right? You're talking.
Yes.
Yeah. He.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Journalists getting kicked out left and right.
Yeah, they kicked him out, right? So, yeah. So I again, this is. I don't want to sound like.
Steve Bradley's correcting me. He's saying that Obama classified Fox News as not a real network.
Right, correct. It's not a real net. Just like people classify us as not real media anyway. It's just like the army. The army doesn't classify us. Just ask ACPA and ask the rest of the PAOs within in the field. They don't think that the WTF Nation is real media anyway. So they don't think that
they do when we get this 1.6 million followers combined.
Yeah,
not more. I've lost track.
I mean, though we have one of the most higher following, the most mill media sites. Yeah, exactly. So I am.
Sorry, the main P's got over 1.3.
Well, I mean, you think about when you say WTF Nation. Think about it. You have WTF Nation, so you have a conglomerate, an empire of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sites that the audiences could go to just on Facebook, and then of course with Twitter and all this other stuff. And I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away that when you say that, hey, we're not going to do that, man. Yeah, exactly. Thomas says we get told not to be on WTF all the time. Well, I mean, WTF all the time meaning how do I say this? I mean, I guess it's different when you're talking and hanging out with us and you're doing whatever. But if we post report something, I think our rapport has been a lot better with organizations in the Army now than we've been. I mean, I think so. Way better than. There's just some things that I just want to light units up.
Way better than even 2 years ago.
Right? Yeah. I want to light units up. I want to flame them alive on some of the shit. And nope, that's already been handled by the unit. Huh? What? That's already been handled by the unit? Yeah. Okay. Well, all right.
Okay. Off a random thing, since we're talking about the U.S. Army WTF moments. Did you see the post with the guy with the knife sticking out of his boot?
Yes. We did.
Yeah, that made me cringe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my thing is that you're
bless soldiers.
That's exactly that. That's Joe shit, right? And we all think it's funny. It's all fun and games, right? There are some units that are like, no, don't want to report that. What do you mean don't want to report that? Yeah, that's a bad idea. You shouldn't report that. You shouldn't talk about that. It is a how do I say this? If you just can't take a joke and you can't understand that you're going to be on doing, being, memed about or have a sense of humor. There are just some things that Joes are going to talk about. It's almost like you're trying to stifle speech from what a soldier is is discussing. So I'll be honest with you, is I think it's awesome that we have a better dialogue with units, but I think some units forget sometimes who we are still, if that makes any sense. We're still WTF moments, and we're still going to report something. And yes, we'll work with you as much as we can. But if there's not anything that we could resolve, then again, the command gets notified.
We're here for the soldiers.
Right. Exactly that.
That's it.
Exactly that.
Of it, we're
exactly
here for the soldiers. That. If units do what they're supposed to, which a lot of them have, there's different Facebook groups and stuff going on that to help with that certain aspect of what we do to make sure things are getting taken care of, so we can it may be a little less spicy for everyone at home, but it's all about taking care of the soldiers. And while us getting on somebody is great and all, because we get to hopefully get someone kicked out or demoted or whatnot.
Well, I mean, it's
better to have the soldiers taken care of in the first place.
Right, and that's the whole intent. I mean, the one thing that I can't stand on the PAO side of the house, and I know Flash, you can't control some of your PAO peeps, but the word nothing burger.
Mm-hmm.
I swear,
nothing burger.
I swear if I hear another PAO,
I
swear if I hear another PAO talk about that, about saying that something's a nothing burger, it'll be an automatic. You might as well just go ahead and tell your PAO friends. If we get told it's a nothing burger, it's an immediate launch. It'll be that'll be the cataclysm for that post going up. That'll be bam. What the catalyst? What did you just say? You said it's a nothing burger? See you. It's posted. It's going to go up because if you say it's a nothing burger when we bring it up to you, then that's an issue on your end. You know what I mean? But that's just me.
Well, speaking of the soldiers, and speaking of Donald Trump, lots of things have been happening. Lots of things have been happening at the Pentagon, which has been kind of interesting. The departure of there's top brass at the Pentagon has been asked to resign or fire straight away, and the departures are continuing as the president. Pentagon purge seems to be never ending at this point. The most recent resignation was that of Alex Ross, the former Capitol Hill staffer who served under Mark Esper as Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army. Don't forget, Dr. Esper was fired over Twitter. Now there was talks before that, for those playing at home, that he was preparing to push through some stuff to rename bases around the U.S. From Confederate name forts. And then he would put in his resignation. Dr. Esper came out and said those were all fabricated. And then the president fired him over Twitter. Fun times. When Esper moved down to the E-ring to become Secretary of Defense, Ross moved with him as his deputy chief of staff. Her immediate boss, Chief of Staff Jen Stewart, had resigned a few days earlier, and as the Vice Admiral Joseph Kernan, who was the Undersecretary for Intelligence, and Jim Anderson, the Acting Secretary for Policy. And of course, Esper, was one of the first to depart, thanks to the presidential tweet of excellence, and was replaced by Acting Secretary Christopher Miller. Well, when Joseph Stalin liquidated his
Spanky, I'm your SecDef now. Exactly.
Look here.
Look at me. I'm your SecDef now. Exactly. Spanky's a SecDef. Woo, better watch out.
And the SecDef was at the U.S. The National Museum of the U.S. Army that just opened last Wednesday at Fort Belvoir. So that was kind of interesting to see that. Except they had it Acting Secretary of the Army, which was weird because the Secretary of the Army was there. Okay. Hey, whatever.
Wait.
Over there at,
what? Say that again.
Yeah, there were some weird things with the graphics. Now, is it acting Secretary of the Army?
Right. No.
Instead of Secretary of Defense.
Right. Well, it said acting Secretary of the Army of the Secretary of the Defense. of whatever. I guess I don't know. I had a more. Man, I deleted that shit because didn't I send it to you? Didn't I thought I was gonna pull it up? That'd have been an awesome screenshot madness there. But anyways, let me look at this stuff. Let me look. No, I can't find it. It was a screen grab of his lower thirds. Lower thirds is the bottom graphic on the bottom to which somebody is normally titled in a broadcast. So like when you see on the news, it'll say Tucker Carlson or what's his name, Costa or Don Lemon or whatever on the bottom. Then that's when it'll have their name and whatever marquee stuff. And I think it was almost like talking about it was a I don't know, the Secretary of the Universe type thing. You know what I mean? It had that feel to it. I gotta find the graphics on this dude because it was freaking hilarious. Let me look for it. You were saying? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. According to The Hill, when Joseph Stalin, liquidated his generals in 1937, among them the brilliant Marshal Mikhail and former General. I'm not even gonna try to say these names because it's so much easier to read.
Yeah.
A lot of people, no one really paid attention to the possible consequences that would come from this purging. But within 2 years, the Soviet Union found itself nearly defeated by Finland in the Winter War, and a year later, it was overrun by Hitler's forces. Trump's purge of the top, of course, it's The Hill, so they're going to go a little eccentric. But the purge is a little weird. The purge of top Pentagon civilians is unlikely to result in similar disasters, but could lead America's adversaries to take advantage, including Russia, China, Iran. Of course, Israel's been very active in Iran with the drive-bys.
That's what I'm talking about, right? Exactly. Go on with your bad self and busting some caps.
Go on with your bad selves. Israelis are crazy, I'll tell you what. But, we don't know exactly what's motivating Trump to launch this assault on the Pentagon. A lot of people think this is a loyalty shakeup. A lot of people think that they're, it's trying to sow a little chaos before Biden takes over. But it was widely known that Esper was kind of skating on thin ice ever since he was he was regretting having participated in Trump's theatrical crossing of Lafayette Square.
Dude, that's the thing, though, dude. Do you think? Okay, look. This. Yeah. Okay, I don't like talking about politics too much, but this is the commentary time to talk about it.
This is it. That's Monday.
This is Monday. Do you think his fucking kids have a lot involved in it? Like they're like his little. Could you imagine? I mean, because no one is gonna know some shit like that. The president's already got a lot of stuff, and then Eric Trump or Ivanka Trump will say something. Hey, Esper was just complaining about it, and then the next thing you know, he says, "Oh, what?" And then he's fired. You know what I mean? Do you think? I wonder if that's the thing. I wonder if it's like his kids are sometimes involving themselves too much. I don't know if Jared Kushner would be involved either, but it just seems like. He would say something, and then, of course, there'd be individuals that would talk about it, and then it's just how it got to the president with him saying something or he didn't feel like it. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes that the media did do their own method of doing it, too, by saying, hey, did you know that your SecDef said this? Because, see, president can't even keep control of a SecDef and blah, blah, blah. And you know what I mean? I mean, because he obviously has melts down when he watches something on the news that's bad on him. So I was just curious. If maybe the other ones, the kids had something to do with it. If that makes any sense.
That's a good question. I know that Kushner has been an advisor. Ivanka Trump has been a close advisor. Eric Trump, not so much. That goofy looking son of a bitch.
Damn, dude.
Last I've heard that he's not really involved that much. I don't know. All I know is that I did see an article saying how. Ivanka Trump and Eric Kushner, who were like the talk of the New York town, probably won't be welcome back to the social scene out there.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I read about that too.
It's just gonna be, it's gonna be an interesting time for all of them. But it's weird. Clearly, President Trump has a perception of disloyalty, or more accurately, insufficient loyalty. And any kind of dissent, especially at this point, is one factor that's probably led to the Pentagon house cleaning. He replaced those who left with men whose loyalty to him was beyond a doubt. Beyond averaging his slights and rewarding his supporters, Trump may have two other motives to pushing out top leaders by replacing seasoned Pentagon managers with those who've even served, who even he say they've served for decades, as Miller, and the new acting Secretary for Intelligence and Kesh Patel, the new Pentagon Chief of Staff. Those positions, give him a more powerful. He's got more stuff going for him. Trump's probably seeking to make things more difficult for Trump's team to coordinate with the Pentagon officials who have yet to familiarize with all the aspects of the job. By changing it up and putting in people that don't know exactly what's going on, that are in those acting capacities. Like I said, it is, I think part of it is, I don't think it's going to be a coup's going to happen and they're going to keep Trump in power. But I do think that Trump's trying to make it difficult by getting rid of everyone who knows what the fuck their job is. Either which way, Biden is right to be confident in his abilities and his transition team, which is made up of most of it's very racially and sexually
stop
diverse.
Come on, dude. Come on.
I'm just reporting facts. You can take them any way you want.
Yeah. Well, Trump has the same thing. Trump has had the same and diverse. An openly gay member on his cabinet is not diverse. He's had more women and minorities on his staff, and you're telling me that's not? Oh, come on, dude. That
They're all tall and blonde and look like his daughter.
But no. Well, show me. Whatever. Show me. I want to see. I want to see some.
Trump. Man, she is tall though. I've seen her I've seen her in person. Came off the same plane as me. She is tall.
Yeah, it's just. I just think when everyone's trying to fact check or whatever, he's got Latino people. He's got women. Half of his staff are fucking women. He's got the leader of the CIA as a woman. So when someone says, "Oh well, his woman is openly gay," I'm like, Trump. He just.
I didn't say Trump.
No.
Did that? I just said right now the transition team.
Correct.
For Biden.
Right.
Is the most gender and race diverse transition team we've had.
Okay. Well,
I'm saying he did. I'm just saying. If
yeah,
it's
I
one
know.
more person.
Right.
It's still more. So moving past that, there's another reason why, very compelling reason why, there's the changing of the guard over at the Pentagon, because Donald Trump is looking ahead to another possible run in 2024. I've actually heard that a lot of people think that if Trump runs 2024, he's immediately the front runner.
You think so?
But he's got to make good on those campaign promises, especially one that a lot of us can agree with, withdrawing all troops from Afghanistan.
I think he already has. That's the problem. I think he's already
He's working on it. They were supposed to have only 1,800, 2,400 troops in January, but Esper was reluctant to go along with those plans, as were the departing undersecretaries that were there until they got the axe. On the other hand, Miller, who now takes over, lacks the power of one confirmed in that position to face down the White House, or for that matter, the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. It's interesting. Donald Trump, I don't think is done. Even if he loses, I think he's going to come back, and he's going to be like, even when I was getting kicked out of office, I still was rocking and rolling and doing stuff that I promised you I would. What has Joe Biden done for you? And if the Republicans hold on to the Senate, it won't be that much.
Okay. Openly gay person to a cabinet level. Richard Grinnell, okay? Acting Director of National Intelligence.
That's not the transition team.
It doesn't fucking matter. But when people are saying
that's
that,
what we're talking about. I never said.
No. But I'm adding. I'm interjecting. When someone says, the online newspaper, Pink. I think, Pink is what their name. And they erased.
Fucking color is not an online.
Well, I don't know. Anything. I don't know. We're WTF, and people don't seem to take us seriously. So I mean, you never know. Anyways, my point being is that they erased his name as the first openly gay person. See, Pink is saying that it's look at Biden. He's thinking Creole. He's got an openly gay person on his staff. And I'm thinking, stop. You may not like Trump. I may not like Trump. You may not like Trump, Flash. But I'm telling you what, right now, Trump was the one that had the first openly gay person in a cabinet level position. And I don't want to hear this fucking shit where Biden is all of a sudden he's now the trendsetter and now setting the standard for how cabinet positions will look like, when half of the positions have been filled by women, half the other positions were filled with Latinos. And you want to start picking pepper out of fly shit on exactly what is considered a minority to a minority, and then now you don't want to give him the credits of him saying that he's not openly gay when we Rich Grinnell's, not you specifically,
but at a future argument when there isn't one yet, because we don't know what Biden's going to do. He might, the Democrats were supposed to nominate someone who was not an old white person. They didn't. So, Joe Biden might not, depending on who he puts through, might not actually be, as diverse. All I'm saying is this transition team that he got going on, that it's working against the tidal wave of changes that Donald Trump is throwing at him, is the most racially and gender diverse transition team.
Oh my God, this is fucking hilarious.
There is nothing else in that conversation that has anything to do with the cabinet members.
Yeah,
anything else, because Biden is not the president yet and is yet to make any cabinet people. Oh, my favorite post-election meme. I don't know if anyone watches like the Daily Show or what, or pays attention to their stuff. It's not as good without Jon Stewart.
No,
I miss
it's
Jon
never.
Stewart
It's
a lot.
Jon Stewart. I'm sorry.
Noah. What's his name?
Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
Still a very funny guy. Like
he's funny. He's funny, but he's not. But he's not Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart's OG. But anyways, they used to do the whole Celebrity Apprentice bingo, or who's the next person to get kicked out, and then it said show canceled on it. I laughed at that for about 5 minutes.
So real quick, this is just breaking right now, is that Trump just released he's now talking about bombing Iran. He sought options. This is like just released just now. According to dude, do we even listen to Drudge anymore? Is Drudge a legit source of info? Is Drudge trusted now? Does anybody like? Because now I notice not everyone's like hating on Fox News now. Everyone hates Fox News. They want to go to OAN now or Newsmax. They want to go to those.
Yeah.
Is that?
I'm seeing this in a couple of things. Trump sought. Saying he sought options for attacking Iran to stop growing nuclear program, and all of this stuff is hitting like right this second.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is hitting right. Also, he's talking.
Trump is pulling our troops out of Afghanistan to drop in Iran.
he's gonna tell him, yeah, you guys are getting pulled out of Afghanistan, and then he loads them up on a plane, and a C-17 lands in Tehran or something like that. Dude, this is so fucking crazy. This is.
Hey, so I know I lost the presidency, Joe Biden. Here's a new war.
I was about to say, well, I'll be honest. I was fucking. Oh man, it's funny.
And on my first day of Christmas, the president gave to me a brand new Middle Eastern war.
And so we have, so real quick, I just wanted to talk to you how since I did not want to bring
on
this.
The second day of Christmas.
I didn't want to bring this up, but Howard Stern rolled in and laughed at Dee Treacy's idea of launching a news network. And talking about having Trump TV,
another failed endeavor, like Trump Wine, Trump Steak, Trump
look,
University.
I'll be honest.
Stop putting your name on shit. It doesn't work.
No, my point being is, it's that everybody thinks that everybody can do fucking everything. That's the key issue with survival. I could do this. I could. And look, you're sticking at the businessman level stuff, and you're sticking all that stuff. But when it comes to the TV shit, people are not realizing that NBC used him like crazy for the celebrity, for Apprentice and all this other shit. Hey, look, just because I'm smart, or I may be a genius to create the space shuttle, but I'm not the genius to build the motherfucker. You know what I mean? I might be the person that, like Elon Musk. He has, what did he say? I may not have graduated Harvard, but I got people working for me that graduated Harvard. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, dude, stop. Just if you're gonna lose, and it's gonna be take the L, reconnoiter and all this other stuff. This whole reason why this whole flailing and shit, it's insane, bro. It is fucking insane. I would rather him just wait, collect himself, have all his cards, and don't it, dude. I'm telling you what, the Republican Party, the GOP, just freaking stabbed his ass in the back. They where's the NRA? Do you know anything about the NRA? Who's the NRA?
No one cares about the NRA. Hell, I don't care about the NRA.
No,
I will say the biggest, post-election night, the biggest surprise wasn't Biden winning, projectedly. It was how much the Senate's really riding on Georgia. Of all
Oh my
places.
God, I know.
And two, how much ground representatives in the House on the Republican side gained against Democrats. Like they gained like leaps and bounds more than than people thought. And making it so Pelosi has to get everyone on board for all kinds of craziness, or else it's shit's not getting pushed through. And one last thing, because I know we're getting really close.
Yeah, we
got awesome guests coming up.
Yeah.
There's talks that Chuck Schumer, the minority leader of the Senate, actually came out and said by executive order, Biden can and apparently is planning on writing an executive order that gets rid of $50,000 of student loan debt for people. So munch on that, because you think 2020 was crazy. Wait till 2021.
Oh my God, I know. Okay, so we're gonna take a break right quick, and we'll be right back. So everyone, take some shots. We're gonna have our guest at Task Force Dagger Foundation coming on and hanging out with us, and I can't wait. It's gonna be pretty crazy. So it's gonna be a good call. So everyone, stand by, refill your glasses, and we'll see you in a sec. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Nothing feels the same. Left it all behind.
she was gonna rock my world. Now I'm stuck here with no money. Don't that just sound a little funny for you? Well, her name was Maria. She told me she was always by my side. Went home one evening. She was with another man. He tried to run and hide. I pulled out my 45. I told them that I was gonna take their life. Now I'm stuck here on the run. I don't know the animal I have become, so won't you save me? Save me! Won't you save me? Save me! Won't you save me? Save me! Won't you please put me out of my little misery? Well, I know life is short. Mom, you know I always try to do my best. Should've listened when you told me I wouldn't be caught in this mess. Gotta go now, Dad, I'm sorry. Everybody, all y'all need to know this is life, a true story. When you chase ass down in Mexico, save me, save me. Won't you save me, save me, save me, save me. Won't you please put me out of my little misery? Won't you save me? Save me! Won't you save me? Save me! Won't you save me? Save me! Won't you please put me out of my little misery?
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back, man. Well, we got a house full of guests right now. Members of Task Force Dagger here to shoot the shit with us about all of their events that they've been doing, and I guarantee it, you guys are going to enjoy it. I know one of the individuals personally. I've already had some condolences given to me about it. But with that, I want to introduce the crew of Task Force Dagger. You guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves. Go for it.
Well, I guess
start us off, Pat.
Yeah, you go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
Currently grad student East. All right. Currently grad student East Carolina University. I'm retired from the Psychological Operations Regiment on Fort Bragg, where I did a number of years. I've been stationed down at Bragg since 2004 till my medical retirement in 2015.
All right, cool. And who's the next one? The next one, we got some more. We got more important people than you, Pat. No, I'm just kidding. Just messing with you. I'm just gonna mess with you. Go ahead. Next one.
Go ahead, Jen.
Okay, so I'm Jen McKinnon. I'm actually a professor at East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina, and in maritime studies, so maritime archaeologist. And so I'm not part of Task Force Dagger, but I'm a partner of Task Force Dagger, and we've been working together for a little while. So yeah, that's me.
And then finally, last but not least, we have the ever popular Mark Stevens. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing? I really appreciate you having us on. Mark Stevens, I'm the chairman of the board for the foundation. I retired out of special operations, had an amazing career, got to work with some amazing people. And, because of all that, I found myself, supporting the foundation back since 2011. And then it just continued to progress, and was asked to join the executive board I think around 2015, 16, and now the chairman of the board, and just really appreciating the opportunity to do what we do.
You've been on here before, but it was a while back, and you guys have been busy. I know me and Pat were talking about, because we talk frequently, and he mentioned you guys being part of the joint recovery team. But before we do that, what have you guys been up to? Can you give the audience a little bit of what you guys do?
Sure. No, so the foundation was founded on the premise of, filling gaps for the special operations community, the members, whether they be active or retired, and their families. And those gaps would be things like, what their personal insurance, the VA, and the government won't cover. And these needs were identified years ago, and the foundation came together. There were 4 people who founded the organization, pulled it together, and started serving the community. And we have 3 specific missions that we provide. We stay on point. We have no mission creep. There's a lot of great organizations out there that do a lot of great things, but we really try to stay on point with what we do so we can do it well. We work hand in hand with the SOCOM, the Special Operations Command Warrior Care Program, and we get needs from them. So real briefly, our 3 primary missions are immediate needs, and those are just exactly what they sound like, things that come up for a family or somebody in the special operations community that needs something that, again, that, their insurance, the VA, or the government won't cover. And a great example of that is, say a guy's getting ready to deploy, learns his wife has cancer. He still has to deploy. They have kids. She's going to get chemo, and they need help with the kids. And so we would step in and provide transportation and what are their other needs that they might need to, say, bring in the mother-in-law to help with the wife, to allow her to get the chemo and help with the kids. That's just a quick example of that. And then we do a lot with what we call healthcare initiatives, where we're working with people with TBI, traumatic brain injury, with PTS, heavy metal exposure, a lot of things. And one of the big efforts in the program is we've found that a lot of people, may go to the VA, and that system is improving for sure. But that there's kind of a track record of a guy or a gal going in and kind of getting diagnosed a little fast, and then coming out and being put on some pretty heavy meds that they may not really need. And so we have a pipeline of care that we facilitate people to go through to really determine if they need those meds. And we've been able to help a lot of people get off a lot of meds that they don't necessarily need, and really bring improvement to their quality of life. We focus on the whole family. You can't fix the service member and not address the family. You got to address the whole family to fix a problem. And then our last mission set is rehabilitative adaptive events, and that's where we really get hands-on. And that's part of the things we're going to be talking about tonight specifically. So I'll hold on that. But that's where we have a tremendous partnership with Jen and East Carolina University. But we have an event down in Key West called Dagger Dive, and we work with families. We bring them in there. We use diving as the medium to help them connect. And a real quick example of how that works out is you've got, say a guy deploys, and he's the alpha. Mom's home taking care of the kids. She becomes the alpha, and because she's got to really lock down the house and run things. And so he comes back, and now you got 2 alphas in the house, and that usually will work for about 24 to 72 hours. There's that kind of that honeymoon period when you reconnect after a deployment, and then things start to that friction starts to happen again.
Oh yeah. And
so this event we do down in the Keys really helps them reconnect and communicate on a different level, because that communication that they have is it's verbal. And so when I put people in the water, they no longer can verbally communicate. Now they have to rely on other means to communicate. So it kind of takes that whole piece out of play and allows them to communicate in a different way and reconnect. And it really benefits and helps these families. But as we get into the joint recovery team stuff, I'll be able to talk more about, mission, purpose, focus, and why that's important for our folks, as they transition out.
You bring up a good question, and you're working with the CARE Coalition as well, with US SOCOM. Now, have they built a better bridge between the VA? I mean, because I went through the CARE Coalition too, and as well as Pat. Are you seeing an increase? I mean, are you seeing the benefit with the processes involved being improved?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I wouldn't say it's across the board. In the close to the command, you've got James Haley, and they have an amazing program where they're able to bring, especially from the SOC community, because of the long-term exposures that they have. When you have conflicts, they're first in, first out, last out. So all the challenges that they face, it's in a more protracted kind of period of time. It's longer, it's more intense. And so they have a great program that works with all our veterans. They're all in need, but this program really kind of, works on some of those key things that are coming out of the SOC community. Those type facilities aren't everywhere, and they're not necessarily, and other facilities aren't equipped to provide that. So yes, they are absolutely improving, but there's always room to continue to improve to help all our service members.
Of course. Okay, so now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this joint recovery team. This is fascinating work, Jen. I mean, how did you get involved with all this?
Well, I was in my office one day, and as I normally do, I greet graduate students who are thinking about coming to the program and walk the door, Pat. And we started chatting, and I can't remember the last time I talked to somebody for 2 hours, a student, for 2 hours in my office. But we started, shooting the shit and talking about, my research and what I do. And I, his background, I connected with that and said, I've always wanted to work with veterans. I think that, it'd be a win-win situation. They could bring so much to what I do, which is studying World War II archaeology sites underwater, And so we just started chatting, and he's like, boy, have I got the people for you. And so, we talked a little bit about how fascinating and cool it would be to take, veterans out to Saipan and work on sites out on the Battle of Saipan. And so within hours, I think I got an email or a phone call from the foundation, and we set up a meeting and started chatting about how we could work together to offer, rehabilitative therapy events doing underwater archaeology on World War II sites. And then it kind of just progressed from there in working with DPAA and the missions.
Can you give us a little bit of an overview of what the DPAA is?
Yeah, so that's the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency. They're the agency. It's pretty unique and pretty incredible that the U.S. Goes out and recovers lost service members from previous wars. So we spend a good deal of, Department of Defense budget going out and recovering service members that were lost and repatriating them and bringing them back to their families. And so we sort of developed a partnership, East Carolina University, because we have been doing World War II archaeology. We developed a partnership with them to help them with their mission. So we can do anything from locating sites like downed aircraft with, lost service members, lost pilots, to, refining sites. So they found the site, they don't know what it is. and we can go in and we can do some more research or use different techniques and tools that they might not have available to them to investigate the sites and help them with their mission.
Now with that, is there some specific protocols that you have to adhere to while you're on the site? I mean, it's clearly you're doing archaeology, but also there immediately, when does it become like oh snap, this is I'm dealing with the repatriation of remains. How does that work when you guys discover remains of our service members?
It is definitely like a forensic archaeology. So it's, you're piecing together essentially a cold case. So you're working it like a cold case where you're using evidence, through either excavation or collecting data with a metal detector or something like that. And each piece of evidence will get you closer and closer. And so, those moments where you might be close to the cockpit or you find the cockpit if it's buried, if it's an aircraft that's buried under the sand, that's the evidence. That's what you're looking for. And so it's a very meticulous scientific process. Like I said, it's very much like a forensic archaeology, forensic science. So everything, rolls in centimeters and everything's measured, photographed. And it's a very meticulous process. But I think that's the amazing thing is working with these guys is that they're used to that process, and it's something that they're very familiar with, sort of evidence-based type stuff, solving problems, working through things. And so I think that's how it works really well.
Now, what happens when you discover, like, you find remains? I mean, after you've marked it off, where does the DPAA step in at that point, or do you have to report up? How does that work?
They do. Yeah, they do. So we do daily, sit reps and things like that. So, we're reporting constantly to them to let them know where we're moving, what we're doing, what we're finding, in case they need to kind of double tap and us and find out what we're doing. So we're reporting, and so when we see something that might be what we call possible osseous, we never say that it's human remains because we leave the identification to the experts in the lab.
Right.
So we would recover it and then return it back to the lab in Hawaii, and that's where they would actually make an official identification.
Now, at that point, I mean, can you speak for them a little bit to say what the process is after that? Is it done by, how do they go about their process? Do you know a little bit about what they do?
That's a kind of stay in your lane kind of question.
Gotcha. That's understandable.
I'm not a forensic scientist, so I'm assuming, there's some DNA and some stuff like that, but I wouldn't want to speak to that process.
No,
but, they've got all that stuff on board and identifying, the potential loss, the potential service member is, they want to get it right. It's got to be by the book. It has to be, it's got to stand up in a court of law kind of thing. So they do everything they can to make that call, and be certain, because you wouldn't want to, call up a family member and say, we've got so-and-so, and then it turn out to not be that.
Of course. No, I totally understand. That would be, that would not be good. That wouldn't be good at all.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been a maritime archaeologist for about 20 years, but I've been working in Saipan for on the Battle of Saipan for about just over 10 years. And then been working with the foundation for, I don't know, three years, going maybe on the fourth year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So Pat, all right, dude, what's your spiel? I mean, I know you, so I can't freaking, you know what I mean? It's like, I have to give the audience the, all right, dude. Yeah. Okay. What's up? But the audience wants to know you too, bud. So tell us about yourself, man. I mean, on your role with this, I mean, we already got your spiel, but on your participation of it.
I mean, I like long walks on the beach, and and it all started with me. I was medically retired from PSYOP regiment in 2015 from getting jacked up downrange, and I went with Mark Stevens and the guys down to was it the Cayman Islands, Mark?
It was. We were doing advanced diving down there.
I got invited out. Pat, why don't you come on out? Rediscovered diving, found out I really liked looking at shipwrecks, was always in archaeology. And me and Mark chatted actually on a pier there. And I said, hey, I think I could find a way to make a living out of this. And then, of course, as soon as we got back, I found ECU. And when the opportunity came about, I applied for their graduate program. And as Dr. McKinnon, talked about, we got to chatting for a couple hours, and,
I'm about
and
to say,
the rest went as it was.
You do one of your famous Pat chats? Is that what it is?
Yes, I like that. We should copyright that.
A Pat chat, because he'll wrap you up once you're in the convo, man. And so with that, I got a picture of you in the ECU flight. You guys in the Marshall Islands right now, coming up right now. How is it with the now? There's a lot of individuals are asking right now. Where is Saipan?
So Saipan, I'm gonna sound like a dummy, but it's if you got an idea of where Guam is, and you imagine what about an hour and a half flight will take you straight due north. That's a good picture. That is where Saipan is. Saipan was part of the Japanese Empire during World War II. Previously, it had been a German colony during the World War I era. Prior to that, it was a Spanish colony, and I feel really on the spot because I know Dr. McKinnon's probably like, he better know what he's talking about.
You are totally gonna fail.
Okay, Jen. All right, real quick. I got you back. Hey, Jen. So where is Saipan? Can you give us some deets of where Saipan is at? I gotta say my bra out here, man. Come on.
Ouch.
Just so you know, I don't always make them call me Dr. McKinnon either. Just on radio. So it's basically it was basically previously occupied by Japan. That's basically the island. And it's you say it's about an hour north flight, and then how is the government there? So it's exactly that. Everyone's like, that's right, Jorge. I'm trying to give everybody where it's at. It's east of Japan, yes, mostly Asian U.S. territory, yeah. I know we're trying to have individuals like wanting to know, because I want to make sure that the infantry guys understand where that's at, so that way they can. Saipan, where's that at? Is that near Thailand? So I want to make sure everybody's smart on that. Is it pretty easy to access to get to any of the sites? Any of y'all can answer. Yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's a Commonwealth of the U.S. So Guam is a territory and Saipan is the Commonwealth. So you're really only American citizens can fly out there. So it takes a couple days to get there, though, because you got to take a long flight across the Pacific. But once you're on that side, it's a beautiful tropical Pacific island. It's everything you would imagine.
So do you have like you can get property there, or is it like a park, or what is basically the territory there? Is it specifically a national park, most of it?
There is a national park. So American Memorial Park is there. So it's a nice national park. Chunks of the land are public, property that are part of the park. But then, the indigenous Chamorro and Carolinian people have lived there for, over 3,000 years. And so they were the main inhabitants for a really long time. If you are, property wise, I think they have Guam is a little bit more open in terms of being able to buy property and live there. But I think, the territory is the Commonwealth is a little bit more restrictive. They have a couple laws about, being Chamorro or Carolinian and holding on to property. But a lot of Americans lease property and rent property and live there. There's quite a few military folks out there.
I was about to ask, is there a pretty big retirement community there?
I would say, yeah definitely. Yeah. The Chamorro people, actually, I forget the percentage, so I won't take a guesswork, but it's a large percentage of Chamorro community or military veterans. And as a matter of fact, there's a VFW post on Saipan.
Oh, wow.
And they were very good to us out there. Actually, myself and Mark ended up joining it.
No, oh wow, okay, cool. Mark, when you have individuals out that want to sign up that have medical conditions for the dive, can they come out too and participate? Can they be part of this as well?
Yeah, so our charter with the foundation is to support the special operations community. So, we are, the way we run into people to do this is a couple different ways. If we're teaching people for that event I mentioned before, Dagger Dive,
right,
we get to know and assess, and our instructors teach, and we're able to teach people how to dive. If they already know how to dive, or they're recommended through the Warrior Care program, we get introduced that way. And then just obviously, like Pat, myself, and yourself, serving in the community, you end up running into people from that would be a good fit. And so what we do is, we have a dive control board as part of the foundation, and their function is to assess people because, for example, the last site we did in Saipan was very conducive to certain people and their disabilities. The water clarity was good, the depth was basically shallow, and you were within the perimeter of the reef, and so you were in a more protected area. So it lent itself to most everybody that we deal with in their disabilities being able to get on and off the boat. I mean, we really try to push this to give people that mission, purpose, focus, and whatever they're positive are going to get out of this. But we also are looking out for the welfare of the individual, and we want to make sure we're not setting anybody up for failure. And then as we got, other sites that are more technically oriented, deeper, different kind of waters, we have to really look and assess and make sure that the person is prepared. And it may just be me, they need to get more training or whatever, but that's kind of our process and how we go about it so that we can make sure, and we're now growing the program into making sure that we can include spouses when able, because again, our whole focus is on the family. And so if we can bring, a spouse in and they're able to, perform and be safe and all those same things, then, we're looking to expand and do more of that as well.
That was going to be a good question because, me and Pat are pretty messed up. we got bumps and bruises and scrapes. And there's just some things that I can't do. Like I would love to go diving, but some of the pressure and all the requirements for depth. Could I, could I be like a sea leg? What do you call somebody who doesn't dive but is on a boat watching people diving? It's not like a leg, right? You know how legs.
Surface support.
Surface support. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, could I if I wanted? For somebody that can't dive, what can they do?
So, I mean, we again, it's the same thing. I mean, because not everybody wants to, but they want to contribute. And there's several, to back up a little bit, one of the things, we have an amazing agreement. When you look at that patch from the Joint Recovery Team, what you see there is you see something that doesn't normally happen of groups working together. So we have something very unique. You have academia, you have the government, you have a benevolent organization all working together for a common purpose. And so, we do things with DPA that also involve terrestrial sites. When the opportunities like that pop up, people that don't dive, we can orient folks towards those opportunities. We actually had one in Germany where a bomber had gone down in a field, and folks that didn't dive assisted with that. But if they want to be, do more marine oriented stuff, certainly we can look at that and evaluate the person and kind of let them know what would be expected from providing surface support. But again, I mean, you know, so I balance that with, you know, we want to give everybody the opportunity, but at the same time, we have to, you know, consider ability and safety and make sure for everyone's safety and the success of the mission.
No, all right. I know we can get kind of pushy on our abilities sometimes, that we overlook our own safety. we like to push ourselves.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it especially, you know, folks from this community. I mean, they are going to push. You have to stop them. You know, they're like racehorses. They're going to push hard. But you know that we have staff and, you know, again, you know, dive safety officers and all the things that you need to have to kind of oversee and make sure that safety is paramount. You know, for example, a day in Saipan starts out with an amazing brief from Jen going over the day's events, what we're going to do, you know, how operations are going to be conducted, you know, from the actual event itself down to the dive operations. And it's always, you know, safety briefs, just like in the military, you know,
right.
Before we're getting ready to do a jump or anything else, we talk about those things and make sure that they're, you know, right on everybody at the top of their mind, so that, you know, they're thinking about safety and not, you know, getting totally lost in the mission and forgetting about that part too.
Of course. Jen, now have you in this process, when you're going through this, do you have a specific scientific mentality on this, or did you glean some of those processes from the military guys, or you had that one veteran guy that said back at Bragg and then he'd show you some stuff? How did that work? Everyone misses me when it says say back at Bragg stuff. So how I mean, with your processes, I mean, what did you use as a foundation for it?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, as sort of like a scientist or whatever, we're always working on research questions, you know, so we're asking questions and then we're setting up our sort of methods, you know, to collect the data to try and answer those. But this is a little bit different. So I had to totally adjust the way I do archaeology, because this is very much like mission driven, not necessarily, you know, answering some question about how long the Spanish have been traveling in their ships, or, you know, how did they build them, or, you know, something like that. Right. So it's very mission oriented. So the question is, you know, where is the aircraft? Can it be identified? Can you find the location of the lost service member? So it's very much driven by that kind of, you know, solving that and moving forward. So it's an iterative kind of process. So every little bit of data or research or information you get, you kind of just, you know, chew on it and figure it out. So as an example, we were working on last summer we worked on a fighter pilot that had gone down. And we can't really talk about the specific type of that aircraft. Of course. But you know, so it went down, and so we knew we were looking specifically for the cockpit, because we knew there was one loss. And so, you know, every excavation unit we put in was to get us to the cockpit, because that is the most likely position that person, you know, went down in. So, you know, you're just kind of driving towards that kind of evidence. And if you're not there, you're at like the strut or the wing or, you know, whatever, you're moving towards that the entire time.
Now, that also requires some knowledge of aircraft. I mean, do you guys have anybody that comes in? Do you have any subject matter experts that comes from like maybe the company or the manufacturer? Or where do you guys get that expertise from?
Well, so I'm a nerd and I study those kinds of things. So I mean, I'm probably the closest you can get, you know, in terms of, because I've been working on aircraft for, you know, 10 years and wrecking events, right? I'm not flying them, I'm not working them, but, you know, I've been studying aircraft that have gone down for, you know, over a decade. So, you know, it all starts with a history and pulling up the records and IDing parts. We have parts manuals because, the military's great and they write all kinds of manuals about their equipment. So, we can take one small little tiny piece and identify it. So it's really kind of a process of pouring through the historical documents or the archival documents, which are those manuals, and figuring out where you're at. The really awesome thing about working with these guys is that they have that expertise too. They understand military, material. And so having them on site is just like amazing because they can ID things just as easy as I can, if not, easier. We happen to have one guy on the crew who had, who was a pilot and also had a lot of expertise in military crash investigation.
Oh, wow.
So, those kinds of things are amazing whenever you're out there because I'm learning it from, the books and from the drawings and from the manuals. And sometimes these guys are learning it from actually having, flown something close to it,
right,
or, understanding that process a little bit more.
Ice, it's no different than, it's like when we would deploy and, you're given an area study and all the information in an area you may not have been. And then if you've got a target, and then you've got a target folder with all the detailed information the packages that she puts together are, they follow that same line. So really, with the experience and exposure that everybody has, and then you take that and you study it. It's very helpful, and it really applies to what a lot of these guys are used to doing, or what they were previously used to doing.
Now, I was about to say, because I would be, some of the pack. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine. I could just imagine an archaeologist having somebody with all that skill set with them, and it probably makes them. I don't know. I'm going to speak for you, Jen, but it probably makes you freaking feel good when you go, man, I'm glad I don't have any idiots with me. Because we're, because there's sometimes where you're, as an archaeologist and you're trying to explain something to them, or you're trying to understand something. Yeah, you got a pretty smart crew with you already, so it must be a lot. How did that gig work together with
Totally.
Yeah, how did it get?
You're saying it.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
These guys are the cream of the crop. They're super, super intelligent, mission driven. I would never want to, go into any, you have these crazy things that happen on site sometimes, you flood your boat and your boat starts to sink or something like that. The crew you want to have with you when those kinds of things happen is this crew.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel so
exactly.
safe. And so, these
right.
guys are like, the mission is important, and,
right.
and they're driven to work. And, part of it is like learning how to be like, hey, let's slow down, let's take a moment, because they just want to get in and get it done. And so, you got to work that balance out between like go, and then wait and let's assess where we're at, because it is that kind of process, where you're trying to like figure it out.
Right.
But they're super fucking smart,
Yeah.
and so on the ball that it's like, I hate to say this because it's going to be on air, but much better than graduate students. Sorry, Pat.
oh, man. But he's God. Hey, she's the boss, Pat. I'm not gonna take this.
Boss.
I've got all of a sudden. I was like, well, oh, wait, that's your boss. I don't want to get into trouble, man.
But I will say, Ice, and Dr. McKay and Mark will confirm. These guys. So we instituted. It reminded me of a story real quick. We implemented a rest day on one of the trips we did. And I can't remember the site, but basically said, hey, for the rest day, let's all go diving at an undersea cave.
Right.
Well, a monsoon hit, and the steps. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. How many? 100 and some steps down like a craggy walk. These guys walked with tanks on their back. One of the guys was a double amputee walking with his prosthetics, and just shrugging it off. They're like, monsoon, whatever, man. We're getting it done. And but that was the attitude and the camaraderie. They showed up by day 2. You know, you would have thought that team was together for 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a key thing too, is that everyone working on one mission together. I'm pretty sure there's probably been some frustrating moments, especially, I don't want to crack on you, Pat, especially if you had someone like Pat and you're I mean, me and Pat have been in some shit where we love each other to death, but the next thing you know, there'd be one tense moment, and then the next thing you know, we're laughing, making fart jokes afterwards. But I couldn't even, the pressure I can imagine, because this is a real world thing. How did this come together? How did this all come together? I mean, it was just something that on a whim. Whose idea was it? I mean, because this right here is not this is like a match made in heaven. You're using academia, like you said.
I mean,
go ahead, Mark.
You know, Pat was kind of the catalyst that brought it all together by introducing, you know, himself to Jen, and then us reaching out. But really, this is kind of Jen's outreach, you know, program and thought to really pull this together. And then, you know, after sitting down, I think we all kind of figured out, what is this supposed to look like, or what should this look like? And then, you know, having the conversation amongst ourselves, and then with DPAA proper, and kind of, you know, explaining how this is all going to come together. And you know, and then a couple years of doing it is what, you know, got us to where we're at, and kind of our processes and how this thing flows. But it really came from Jen and kind of a concept of an outreach program.
I'm about to say, are we going to finally be able to say this is Pat's fault again? I'm not going to.
It's always Pat's fault.
I was about to, there you go, Jet. You finished the punchline. It's always Pat's fault. It's awesome. Pat, what made you decide to just, hey, I'm going to go ahead and just volunteer? You know, what was how did this come to you, man? Because I know everyone has epiphanies, and the next thing you know, that it just happens. So, what made you think of it?
Well, like I said earlier, the guys kind of took me under their wing and looked after me, Care Coalition and Task Force Dagger, when I got hurt. And, you know, I always had that interest in, as you know, in archaeology and history, and would talk people's ears off about whatever niche stuff that I knew that nobody cared about. and you know, and then I met, had the fortune of going out to ECU and meeting Dr. McKinnon out there, and you know, talking with her, I got excited because, you know, to me, ECU represents, you know, when people talk about that civilian military divide, I'd say not so fast. We got East Carolina University, that not only did they the maritime program specifically build this bridge and say, we want to work with veterans. I think on the other trip, they even brought, and I don't want to speak out of my lane on it, but aside from what we were doing with the missing in action search, the ECU folks brought out someone to do biometrics assessments, to do research on the veterans and how we handle stress and that sort of thing. And basically to wrap it up in a future project for better treating veterans with PTS and other issues.
Yeah, that's important. I got a love pick right here with Mark Stevens on preparing to go on a deep water search. He's all kitted up and rocking and rolling. I got him all.
If you
got his glam shot ready.
if you look on the right there, that is Terry Shepard.
Yes,
the Terry Shepard.
Yes, I was about to say, because I was gonna throw that was gonna be the last pick I was gonna have up but yeah, no, but keep going. So that right there, I mean, it looks like you guys about ready to go on mission. What are you talking about? It looks like look like Terry. Looks like, hey, you guys gonna take any explosives with you? Because, you know, he likes spicy Play-Doh, so he's a retired SF dude as well.
No, so in this particular deal, we had a secondary responsibility or mission with DPAA to look for another aircraft that, you know, was on their books, to try to locate. And this is where I was getting into the more technical stuff. These are rebreathers, and we were headed down to almost 300 feet, and in a specific area on the island to see if we could locate that aircraft. And basically, in this particular case, we went down and we ruled out where it was not. So, sometimes you're fortunate and sometimes you're not, but it's all part of the process.
Of course. I'm about to say it's along the lines of that. And I'm pretty sure there's been some dry holes as well, just going into that. In that, as a matter of fact,
but we also found some.
I was about to ready to ask you, Pat. How do you get your info? Where does your information come from?
In terms of where the aircraft are and that sort of thing.
Correct. Like what sites? I mean, how do you guys know? What do you guys just compile leads? How do you guys get the information for your digs?
Yeah, from what I understand, and Dr. McKinnon can speak to it much more eloquently, they have a hierarchy of finds as I understand it. So they would have like a hierarchy tier for missing in action folks of who they're most likely to be able to find and least likely. And then it kind of goes from there, like how they determine, okay, we're targeting this missing individual and versus not this one. And it has to do with, a lot of complex issues above my pay grade. But I'm sure on the archaeology side, they also go to DPA and say, hey, look, we think we might be able to find individual X that's here in this country or off this coast.
Right. I'm just curious. Now, does the Center for Military History get involved in all this as well? Any of you guys can answer. I mean, I was just curious. This is just a curiosity question right here.
We haven't worked with them in the past. We sometimes will collaborate with the Naval History and Heritage Command, NHHC. So sometimes we work with them, and certainly with like permitting, especially if we're going to be impacting one of the aircraft sites. But a lot of the data or the information either comes from DPAA directly. They have historians that work in DPAA, and so they pull a lot of the records. We also do a lot of archival and online research, and then sometimes we're fortunate. The mission that Mark is talking about, we ran sort of two separate missions at the same time out in Saipan last year. So we were looking for a deeper water aircraft wreck, and that one we were able to use existing NOAA bathymetry data that had already been collected. And then also ran our own ROV survey of side scan and magnetometer survey.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes, that data is already there. Sometimes we add to it, and sometimes all we have is just a historical document that an aircraft went down somewhere, and that's what we're looking for.
Now these are also. Is it kind of like? I mean, this is pure hyperbole on what I'm saying. Is like, hey, we're with these guys. We need to access your files. Is everyone pretty copacetic with you guys having access to some of their information?
Yeah, it's clear through the process. A lot of the data or a lot of the records and stuff are declassified, and then their records are available from DoD. And so, but I say that, but then we can't share that information because, again,
I gotcha. Yeah.
If a family member found out that we were out looking for a specific one, then that would be problematic.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. And it is part of that is also, as you can appreciate, it's about respect for the family, because regardless of when this happened for this person, it's about a proper notification to the family. And so they want to go through that process internally before they reach out to that family. And so, for us, it's FOUO, internal, you have the information so that you know what you're working with. And, and I'll tell you, quite honestly, I know who this person is. I never met him. There's 74 years, before me, but you create a bond with this person because
Right.
you want to find them and bring them home. And, you know, outside of serving any other way, this is such an honor to be in a position to potentially do this. And if, you know, everything falls into place and you're successful and, you know, you learn down the road that, you know, notification was made and that family has that closure. I mean, it's, you know, that goes back to that mission, purpose, focus again. To
Exactly.
Give, you know,
Yep.
give these guys. I mean, that's what it really does for our folks, and it's a win-win all the way around. But you know, they're getting that opportunity to you know, be a part of something greater and bigger than themselves and contribute back.
You know, there was rumors that you guys were on a. There's just a rumor now, because I mean, and this is a rumor that was a very famous aviator. There was some there was some Japanese prison or that was rumored to have a very famous person detained that you guys thought you almost had a hit. Can we talk about that, or did I just like totally blow up the interview right now with that?
No, I know if you're talking about the Japanese prison on Saipan.
Correct.
Among the local the indigenous people there, at least, and others, there was a rumor that Amelia Earhart and her co-pilot, thank you, were in the prison that was there.
Correct. I got the
now,
image. I got the image of the prison up right now, so I'm just so that way the fans are tracking.
Yeah, and that actually, if you look at that prison, the ruins of it, that is battle damage to that prison. If I'm not mistaken, please, if you guys correct me if I'm wrong. If you look at it, actually, I'm seeing it on the screen now. That is battle damage, from what I understand. When the American forces, which was a joint attack by the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Army against the island of Saipan, which was it, Dr. Hill, was it a few days after D-Day that attack happened?
Sorry, what was your question?
I'm sorry. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
I see how.
Man,
one of my cat anecdotes again.
This is one of Pat. Yeah, one of them Pat chats, man.
Pat chats.
The Pat chat's going out of control, bro. She put her screensaver up.
Oh, jeez. Didn't the attack on the attack on Saipan occurred about a day or two later from the D-Day attack, amphibious assault?
So yeah, it's June, July, 1944.
That was when what we were trying. I mean, we had no knowledge that there was a prison though there, right? I mean, or was this just an attack to attack?
Yeah, I think from my understanding, I mean, if you see some of the other pictures we'll show later, I'm sure you'll see battle damage on the mountain. We got to check out some of the bunkers of the Last Command. I mean, the U.S. Navy shelled the living heck out of it. And actually, famous actor and Marine Corps member Lee Marvin got wounded on this island.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The attack was part of the island hopping campaign. It wasn't because of the prison.
Okay. Wasn't that the 8th Army that did the attack as well? Was it the 8th Army that did all that island? It was the Army though, right? Or was it the Marine? Or my bad, was it all the Marines? Or I can't remember. There was the 8th Army just celebrated their 75th anniversary, and they were talking about their attack in the Pacific, and they were kind of riding on the Marines about this stuff. So I was just kind of curious.
It was, if I'm looking at this as accurate, it was the 27th Infantry Division, the 4th Marine Division, the 2nd Marine Division, and the 5th Fleet.
Okay.
And I don't think we have any pictures of it, but actually on the invasion beachhead to this day, if the tide goes out, you will see Sherman tanks pointed coming towards you on the beachhead.
Oh, that's awesome. God, that's awesome. Hey, I can have you guys. I can have you guys here all night, but you know, this ends our interview. This sucks. We can go. We can. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I got the picture of all your guys on the beach right there with the Task Force Dagger flag, with the game, to include Mr. Shepard right there. But again, Pat Smith. I totally appreciate Mark Stevens, and of course the Dr. Jennifer McKinnon. From Task Force Dagger. Thank you guys for hanging out. This is an awesome. Also, it's a good catch up. Anyways, Mark, you've been on here before, but we've never gotten this in depth before. No pun intended.
No, we really appreciate it, and shedding some light on what we do as an organization too, so that getting the word out is only going to put us in a position to continue to help our soft community and their families.
Right. Now, you guys can go ahead and, like, if, for instance, right now after the show, and we start propagating your deets around, we can get you guys volunteers if you want. If you let us know, get with the front desk, and we can set something up on our for our Facebook page or our Twitters, and we can, if you guys need some help, volunteers, let us know, and from the soft community, we'll get the word out for you.
Awesome. No, I'll definitely take you up on that and very much appreciate it.
All right, gang. This is the Task Force Dagger crew, Shooting the Breeze, the joint recovery team. Of course, we thank you so much. We're going to take a break right quick, so everyone go ahead and refill your glasses and start looking at maps to see where Saipan is at, so that way I can put you on detail. Everyone, we'll be right back. Shots.
It's my looking up and fading out. Cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through. Skin is brown. Nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life and it's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Constellation theme, mapping stars they're meant to be. Geminis are free of suicidal kings. This misty maze of me, so obvious yet never seen. Feeling though the fog will lift to find me lost at sea. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life and it's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Myself and I am so lost in miracle, far away from life. But I want your visible feeling to be mine. Oh, I just don't get it. When will your heart beat with my mind? I've been thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life and it's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me?
Wear a condom? We're in Fayetteville. No one gets STDs here.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show.
Shouts. And we're back with the last half or last portion of Sergeant's time. Or I'm sorry.
What?
God, see, I said Sergeant's time. See, I'm fucking up. Do my mind.
Man.
I have so much shit going on. I have so much shit going in my
Do I
mind.
gotta worry about you?
I think so, man. I think I got some stuff. This is the Monday edition. Welcome back to the last half of the Monday. The last God. Yeah, man. I got some.
I mean, I'm done if you're already on sergeant time.
Brother, I'm woo.
All I heard was bedtime. Hey, we're done here.
It's like sergeant time. You're like, I'm never on sergeant. Oh, I see Spanky calling right back. No, you don't have to call back, Spanky.
Like, what the hell?
What's wrong with you? Oh man, so we're back. The last portion of the Monday edition with myself and Flash, and of course, always in the last part of the show, we knock out the sports page and the housekeeping. So what's up for the sports page, man?
I'm gonna protest doing the sports page until I get like some kind of like stinger for the sports page. I'm just saying. Flash is going to request that. There's no stinger for the to the sports page. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of crazy. I tell you what, this is a lot of people that I talk to, agree. This for me, this is like one of the most boring times of the year because this is when the least amount of sports are happening. Granted, this usually basketball is started already, but because of the season, the last season, I guess, which wasn't that long ago, it's going to be a shorter season. I forget exactly how many games it's going to be, but it is starting in December. So usually it started already, and we have, basketball and football. But right now we have no hockey, no baseball. We do have soccer that's happening, but, it's sporadic. And, if you care about the world, on the world stage.
Who's that? What about hockey or something like that? Or
soccer.
There's I thought hockey or soccer.
I mean, outside of that, right now you have this year you have football. You have a little bit of soccer. Like I think the U.S. team played Panama. I don't know who won that. It's more for note. But with that, there's a lot of good football stuff happening. First off, ding, ding, ding. If you're a fantasy football owner and you have any of these quarterbacks, you may be happy or sad because quarterbacks were getting roughed up this week. Drew Brees is down right now, has fractured ribs and a collapsed lung. More than likely is down probably for the rest of the season, which is not good for people who are hoping for him. Good for people who have their running back, Alvin Kamara, because that means, the backup's just going to hand the ball to him and let him run. That kind of sucks. Now, if you're a Cowboys fan, you already were pretty hurting because you lost Dak Prescott with that horrible ankle injury.
He needs to drink milk.
Oh, man, he needs to drink a lot of milk because that ankle, look, it wasn't as bad as when I watched Alex Smith break his leg. I think it was 2 years ago. That actually made me actually physically sick because they made the mistake because I guess they didn't think how bad it was. They usually do kind of like a slow-mo replay before they go to commercial, and they did it. You just see his leg snap, and then they quickly went away from it. Oh, that was bad. Dak Prescott, bad too. But, hey, Cowboys, Dalton looks like he's cleared the concussion protocols and is back at practice. So he's looking like he's going to be good to start next Sunday, which is good news for them. Matthew Stafford got hurt, had a couple injuries. The X-rays came back negative, and is very hopeful for Sunday. So that's good if you're a Lions fan. There's not a lot to be happy about for the Lions. But, hey, there you go. In some more bad news, the Chiefs put 3 more people on the COVID list, including 2 offensive linemen who are starters. That's not good for the Chiefs, considering the Chiefs have a great running back, and a lot of that pass protection is why Patrick Mahomes is so good at what he does and doesn't have the scramble. And when he does, they open up holes for him to scramble. So this could be pretty. This could.
All right, come on. Is it over? Are we seeing a case for Kansas City? I don't know. Somebody said something about this, and I was kind of like, I don't know, and only because I'm not a Chiefs fan, so I was just curious. Maybe I'm asking you because you're more well-rounded in the sports ball thing. Do the Chiefs have a case of Brady-itis? Like he could do no wrong. So if Mahomes makes a left turn in a right lane and he does it flawlessly, is that gonna like break the internet? Is that gonna be too much of the like how Brady can't do no wrong. Brady farts a certain way and everyone goes nuts. Is Kansas City getting that Mahomes, that Bradyisms on Mahomes, or is he really that good? Now that was just a question that I asked because somebody was saying that he's of the individuals that I speak to they're sports things just like you, and they were saying that if they're not careful they're gonna have some overconfidence in his Bradyisms. I'm like, what the hell's a Bradyism? And they're like, that's when it was explained to me.
Now, I completely understand that sentiment because, in New England, Tom Brady could do no wrong. If it was a good season, it was a bad season, Tom Brady was the man with the plan. Even for the last 2 years where it looked like Brady was done, and then when, him and the Patriots kind of set ways, a lot of people thought he was done, but still, he's even showing, and he's even disproved my theory that he's a system quarterback and he was in the right system, playing pretty well in Tampa. They've had some rough patches here and there, but Tom Brady still getting plenty of weapons in Tampa Bay is killing it. And we'll talk a little bit that I think Patrick Mahomes is not the same as Tom Brady. I do believe there is a level where, I mean, he brought Kansas City a Super Bowl trophy. I mean, there's lots of teams that do not have a Super Bowl trophy.
Of course.
That's a big one. That already puts him in the history books. There's a lot that, I mean, Patrick Mahomes isn't throwing interceptions. Patrick Mahomes isn't giving up dumb plays. If they lose games, they lose games, but it's usually not because of blatant errors. It's not like when Eli Manning was throwing like 4 picks in a game. It's not like when Tony Romo was, dropping extra point kicks or field goal kicks and losing the game, or throwing an interception to the end zone and losing the game. Patrick Mahomes wins games. Patrick Mahomes wins games on his legs, and he has a stellar arm. It's hard for me. I mean, you put Patrick Mahomes with his versatility of being able to run the ball when he needs to, the fact that he has the vision to check down when he needs to spread the ball around, and he's got that arm. I mean, this man can throw. There is no doubt about it. He's got a better arm to me than Michael Vick did, and I think he runs almost as well as Michael Vick. Because I used to not put a lot of stock in mobile quarterbacks. Michael Vick was kind of a flash in the pan, and we've seen some try to roll in with these wildcat offenses as they've gone through. Like Chip Kelly came in that didn't do so well. But Patrick Mahomes, I think you put him on any most teams, and he exceeds and excels. You put him on the Giants, where Danny Dimes is still making rookie mistakes that Patrick Mahomes wasn't at the same time, but is mobile enough to make things happen. So I don't think it's Brady-itis. I just think the Patrick Mahomes is the real deal, and we're seeing the changing of the guard between him and Lamar Jackson. And I still think Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
I could agree with that.
From Lamar Jackson,
I could agree with that.
He's great.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I think if they both have great running abilities. I think Lamar Jackson's a better mobile quarterback, but Patrick Mahomes can stay in the pocket, has a better arm, I think has better vision. Still great quarterbacks, and so we're seeing the changing of the guard. We're seeing these, what we had when we had Ben Roethlisberger, Tony Romo, Eli Manning, what's his name? When we had Tom Brady since the 2000, and then what's his nuts? Phil Rivers. We had this crop of quarterbacks. They're slowly changing. Phil Rivers is on his way out. Is on his way out. Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, maybe another year or two. Tom Brady, I think, honestly, who knows with this man? I like that every year I say, it's probably his last year. But the way they're playing, I don't know. But Eli Manning's gone. Tony Romo's gone. We got a new crop of quarterbacks, so it's great. I think these guys are the real deal, and we've had lots. Another one who I think is a real deal, Joe Burrow. Even though Cincinnati's not playing extremely well, he's playing very well, and he's coming from from Heisman Trophy last year to now playing, starting a quarterback for the Bengals. I think he's going to find, they're going to find their way as well. That got me off on a cool tangent.
No. I'm just curious because again, I just don't want, because everyone thought Romo was the end all be all as well, and I'm seeing the same pattern with Romo, how he was treated, and the next thing you know, he started fiddling towards the end. And I just want to see Pat Mahomes going down that route. And then that was a good point when it was brought up to me. It was like Brady-itis. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I think you got to think about the fan base too. Tony Romo was coming up in America's team. This is the Dallas Cowboys, and they were vicious. I mean, I remember when Tony Romo took over for Drew Bledsoe, and I hate Drew Bledsoe when he played with the Patriots. I actually had a run-in with him when I was a kid, and he pretty much smashed my camera. And ever since then, I've had the man owes me a blood debt. Vengeance will be.
I'm about to say, so now you're pissed, and now you got some lifelong vengeance against it.
I've never forgotten that, Drew Bledsoe. Payback will be a bitch. But I remember Tony Romo took over. I mean, and Tony Romo has got the Cowboys to the playoffs consistently. That wasn't, some years they did worse than others, but there was consistent Cowboys in the playoffs in some way or fashion. It's just Tony Romo couldn't really get that first win. I think, did he ever get that first win? I don't remember, because they kept, they would, lose out in the first or second round of the playoffs. I believe he didn't. He only got maybe one playoff win out of his whole career, but he kept getting to the playoffs. There's always hope.
Right. Okay, I'm just curious.
Even Cowboy fans were hating on him. Like there was plenty of times where people were calling him for to be the bench and calling for them to trade up in the draft. But Jerry Jones is a man of passion. He believes in people, and he's going to stick to that. And Tony Romo, he believed in him, and up until he couldn't believe in him anymore. And now Tony Romo is an announcer and doing Corona commercials. Bless his heart.
So I digress. I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. So happening right now, it's Monday Night Football. The Chicago Bears are hosting the Minnesota Vikings. It's a pretty good game so far. It's 13-13. Chicago really needs a win here to stay competitive in their division. Minnesota just needs a win because I think they're on the opposite side. What was it? Minnesota's 3-5, so not looking so good. Bears are 5-4. Going 6-4 would be pretty good. It's just the end of the third quarter, and Chicago has the ball, but it's 4th and 15. So lots of things, and we'll see how that works out. Moving on, because man, there are some great games. One of the games that I definitely do want to talk about, is the Washington Redskins and the Detroit Lions. Again, Matthew Stafford, I think he hurt his wrist. Good to go. X-rays are negative. Looks like he's going to be back in practice. Great for them because, hey, they're still trying to stay competitive. And their first win at home. Yes, what a great game. The Lions were up like 23-0. It was such a going into the 24-3 until finally Washington Redskins, they score 3 in the 7th quarter and another 17 in the 4th quarter. Lions not looking like they're going to, the Lions get the ball back after Washington scores a touchdown, maybe 30 seconds left. Somehow, within a couple of plays, and luckily they had three timeouts to work with, they're able to get it to the 45 and timeout, catch timeout, 3 seconds left. The kicker is going to kick like a 53-yard field goal. And, a lot of people think, oh, it's not going to make it. That's a long kick. That's a long kick. And somehow, even though it didn't look like it was going to go, because it first goes wide left and just does this knuckleball thing to seal the game for the Lions, beating the Washington Redskins, who thought that, with Alex Smith back, who played a great
Washington's
game,
team. Washington's team.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to break these old habits of the Washington team. But Alex Smith throwing almost 400 yards. Damn. But let's not forget about the Lions. DeAndre Swift, the rookie, coming out of Georgia, 16 carries, 81 yards, was looking great. But the Lions go 4-5 and secure that win at home finally. Washington, on the other hand, 0-4 away. It's going 2-7. Man, Alex Smith finally coming back, looking great because their second string, Keenan Allen, I think it is, whatever their second string quarterback, since Devontae Haskins isn't looking so great. Alex Smith he came in, he commanded the field. They were able to get score that touchdown, tie up the game, but that knuckleball long field goal. Dang. I was as shocked as anyone else. You could hear it from the booth. It was pretty crazy. But the Washington Redskins made some bad mistakes on defense, and that's kind of what happens. Moving on to the Colts. Man, Colts destroy the Titans. Titans were looking good. Derrick Henry is still killing it. I think he's gonna be well over 1,000 yards this year. With he's even this one, 19 carries, 103 yards. Philip Rivers is still playing. Remember, he took over for the Colts since the Colts have been going through like this weird quarterback thing. I don't think he's going to last there. But he threw 308 yards and a touchdown. Colts 6-3 this year, taking that one against the Titans, which is kind of crazy, tying up their record 6-3. But the Colts win 34-17. Boop, boop. The Browns. I tell you what, the Browns are a legit team, and they keep playing that way. Making some smart plays, and I'll talk about it in a second. But the Browns are able to beat the Texans 10-7. That's a baseball score. Like that's a baseball score. It's not an NFL score. But they, Texans didn't score until the fourth quarter. And the Browns didn't do too much better. They scored a field goal in the first quarter and a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Nick Chubb it kind of like, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Todd Gurley, formerly of Georgia. See, Georgia comes out with some good running backs. That's what they do. LSU and Alabama come out with quarterbacks. Georgia comes out with running backs. But 2 weeks ago, Atlanta was playing. Dang, I don't even remember who they're playing. Doesn't matter because Atlanta lost. Why? Todd Gurley, knowing that they didn't need to score that touchdown right away because they're against the Lions. That's who they got that win to. It was against the Lions. Atlanta Falcons, who haven't played good ever since Tom Brady put that Super Bowl smackdown on him and Matt Ryan, gets down to like the 2-yard line, Todd Gurley realizes, oh no, if I score this touchdown, I give Matthew Stafford of Georgia way too much time on the clock to take it downfield. And guess what? He doesn't actually stop himself. He even gets a little help from a defender, goes across the goal line, bam. They score the touchdown, they're up, but the Lions take it all the way back, score the touchdown, and win that game. Well, it didn't happen this time. The Browns, Nick Chubb, apparently the smarter of the running backs coming out of Georgia, on one of the last plays, instead of scoring the touchdown, goes out of bounds. They're able to waste some more time and keep the Texans from getting any time on the board, and they're able to win that game because guess what? Doesn't matter how much you win by, it's all about the W. Browns 6-3, Texans 2-7. This is the same Texans that weren't they just in the playoffs like last year? What is this crap? There's a lot of surprising there's a lot of surprising teams. Packers, no shocker there, whooping the Jaguars 24-20. Packers now 7-2. Jaguars 1-8. Aaron Rodgers 2 touchdowns, 325 yards. A good game. It's a good game. Fucking
yeah, I'm about to say that.
Here's a shocker for all those people that said that the New York Giants can't beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Guess what? They can.
Oh wow, I know.
And they did in a very competitive. I say that with all laughing and besmirking. A very competitive NFC East division because everyone's only about a game away from each other because no one's actually winning games unless we beat each other, which, hey, guess what? The Giants did this time. The Giants winning 27-17 against the Eagles. Giants are now 3-7. 3-7. And the Eagles 3-5-1. Good for them. Danny Jones throwing for 244 yards. Darius Slayton for the Giants almost racking in 100 yards receiving. Hey, I'll tell you what, a W's a W, even though, I'd rather a first-round pick in the draft, but hey, whatever. There's too much competition for that first-round pick because teams are either winning or they're losing by a lot, and the Giants are usually on the losing by a lot. But hey, potential chance to get to the playoffs, why not? Buccaneers, Tom Brady, like I said, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns. Woo! This man is defying all, he keeps kicking Father Time in the gonads because he is not going down. Isn't playing as crisp as maybe a couple of years ago, but that's to be expected. He's still playing better than, let's say, Brett Favre at this point, John Elway at this point. But, of course, Tom Brady has gone past those points, and, he's gone past the normalcy of how long a quarterback career is and continues to win. Buccaneers 7-3, Panthers 3-7, and I personally don't care if the Panthers lose. Suck it.
Hey, so you were listening to the Monday edition tonight. Thank you, Flash, for the Force Page.
Raiders beating the Broncos 37-12. Raiders,
yeah.
I didn't think they were legit, but they're 6-3.
Do you know who else they also beat? The Chiefs.
Yes. Apparently, on that note, Andy Reid wasn't so happy when the Raiders did a victory lap in their team bus around the stadium when they beat the Chiefs. But hey, whatever.
Indeed.
Just found out that cool piece of information. But the Raiders keep continuing their winning streak, taking out the Broncos. Not a really hard thing to do. Broncos now 3-6. Again, Raiders 6-3. The Dolphins, the mighty Miami Dolphins. No, we're not talking Ace Ventura Dolphins, where Dan Marino was killing it, and that one guy. We're talking we're talking about the Dolphins.
Einhorn, Finkel, Finkel's.
She's a man.
Purely talking about the movie, guys. Don't fucking get wrapped around the axle.
Totally talking about the movie. Don't get awesomeness there. Don't get mad at them, not us. Anyways, Dolphins are 6-3 with the big win over the Chargers, 29-21. Chargers fall to 2-7. Justin Herbert, another another quarterback picked up for his rookie season out of the draft last year. Didn't do too bad, 187 yards, but threw for 2 touchdowns. But they just couldn't. I tell you what, that Dolphins front defensive line, they're holding it down. Still gave up 21 points, but that's enough to win. And again, winning is winning. Bills show they can lose a game. What? Yes, the Cardinals. The Bills have beat people who are over 500. Like they have, but this time they didn't. Cardinals, who are now 6-3, just edging out the Bills, 32-30. A great game between both of them. Josh Allen throwing 2 touchdowns, 284 yards. DeAndre Hopkins for Arizona, 127 yards receiving and a touchdown, only on 7 catches. I mean, that's something you get from like 20 catches. No, 127 yards on 7 catches. He didn't have to work hard, but when he did, he if you owned him on a fantasy football team, you are good to go because, damn. So the Bills go to 7-3, Cardinals 6-3. Bills are still. Both teams are both teams are legit. And it's kind of interesting. Dolphins 6-3, Bills 7-3, Cardinals 6-3. Are we in the twilight zone? Moving on, Rams beating the Seattle Seahawks. It was kind of nice to see Russell Wilson lose. I won't lie. Both teams now 6-3. Rams were able to edge them out 23-16. Jared Goff looking like the Jared Goff of old, throwing for 302 yards. Russell Wilson, your rushing leader with 8 carries for 60 yards. Again, another one of those quarterbacks that can move, but I would say Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson have a better arm than Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson can still ball, and there you go. He's leading rusher for both teams. So Shazam. The Saints, even though it looks like they're going to lose Drew Brees probably for the rest of the season, they still beat the 49ers 27-13. Saints go to 7-2, 4-1 at home, which is awesome. 49ers 4-6. They started, even though they've had an up and down season with injuries. They lost a lot of people at the beginning. They're starting to get some of them back, but they still are having trouble putting points on the board. Dropping this one 27-13. They're now 4-6. Speaking of a man, Joe Burrows from LSU. Yes, your reigning Heisman championship Heisman winner. Just couldn't beat the Steelers. It is a Bengal curse when every time they face the Steelers. The Steelers, the only undefeated team in the NFL, going 9-0, beating the Bengals 36-10. Bengals fall to 2-6. Ben Roethlisberger, I tell you what, he's another guy who's, even though he came in later than Tom Brady, he's still one of those the old guard, and man, he can still ball, throwing for 333 yards, 4 touchdowns. If you had a running back for any of these teams, it wasn't a great day for you because Ben Roethlisberger throwing 46 passes, 27 for completion, which is a little over 50%, which I guess is not bad. You expect better, but it was a pass-happy game, so there you go. But 36-10, and the only undefeated team, Steelers 9-0. Patriots. I love watching Patriot teams lose.
You like watching the Patriots lose?
It did not happen this time, which scared me because I was.
Do you like? I was about to say, is it because? See, that's the thing.
Yeah, didn't I?
I'm about to say you slipped. You said Cam Newton. Now that goes back.
Cam Newton's back.
Yeah. See, here we go. Are we fans of the team or fans of the player?
Oh no, I hate Tom. I hate the Patriots for employing Drew Bledsoe. It's a blood feud that will never die until I get my revenge.
Until you get your camera back.
Drew Bledsoe.
No, but my point being is that look, everyone was a massive Patriots fan until he went to Tampa, and now they're like they can barely fill the stadium, even though they're winning games, even though they won a game. You know what I mean? And so I'm just wondering, and just a little test here, is it specifically the player that the fans would want to gravitate to instead of, I don't know, dropping loyal?
As long as Bill Belichick is the head coach,
yeah,
people will hate the team and people will love the team. And I mean those in extremes, not, oh yeah, I like the Patriots. I'm saying I love the Patriots or I fucking hate the Patriots. You're going to get one or the other as long as Bill Belichick is at the helm, because out of all the controversies, out of everything that's ever gone on, with remember when Matt Castle came in and was like balling great and got them into the playoffs, and then they traded him away to the Chiefs and his career went bump. It's always going to be the Patriots will forever be the bad guys in a lot of people's eyes. In my eyes, suck it, Patriots. Well, they didn't suck it this time because they played host to the Baltimore Ravens, who were playing really well. Just not this time. Patriots were able to win 23-17. Cam Newton, even though he had got that bench for that one game, is back, doing enough to stay in, stay competitive. Patriots go up to 4-5. Ravens, they drop a game, so they're now 6-3. Lots of 6-3 teams. Lamar Jackson throwing for 2 touchdowns, 249 yards passing. Damian Harris, it's been a while since the Patriots have had a passing game, but when you have Cam Newton, who really doesn't have a great vision, he's got a good arm, but not something to like write home to mom about. So finally, if you are a fantasy football owner and you have a Patriots running back, it won't hurt you like it has in previous seasons when Tom Brady went, I don't need a running game, pass. But Damian Harris looking good, 22 carries, 121 yards. Shazam! And Willie Snead. I mean, here's your MVP for the Ravens, pulling in 2 touchdowns, 64 yards on 5 catches. That's pretty good. If you're wondering if I missed your team, bye week we had the Falcons, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Jets. Yes. Vikings are up 19-13 as we're moving past the we're in the 4th quarter. Not a lot of time left on the board. Trying to get the best. We got 10 minutes. 10 minutes left. Easily I guess 9.5 now. Easy enough for the Bears to come back, hopefully, but it's going to be a tight game. It's going to stay that way. Holy snap, crackle, and pop. I think I covered enough with football.
Yeah, dude. Well, I said just go about 10 minutes. Now we just did a full show.
We're almost done. Hey, if now that the free agencies are starting started in Major League Baseball, a lot of qualifying offers. I've already been sent to the players. If you don't understand the whole qualifying offer, this is how it works. If you have a guy who's going out for free agency, there's a table and everything that they figure it out, but they offer a qualifying offer. It's usually for like a year or 2 or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of times, if a person's really testing free agency, they would have already been extended. If they really were going to stay, they would have been extended already. If they're going to go with free agency, they get a qualifying offer. What that means is, like in the case for the New York Yankees, they have DJ LeMahieu, who didn't win the MVP, which I think is a shame, but won a Silver Slugger, his 2nd in a row Silver Slugger. So congratulations to him. They gave him a qualifying offer. Everyone expected him to decline it, and he did. What that means is, if he does not sign with the New York Yankees, so say DJ LeMahieu is signed by the Atlanta Braves, the Atlanta Braves will have to give up a draft pick to the New York Yankees, kind of like a consolation prize. Like, hey, thanks for having this guy. You gave him an offer. He, that was, met the qualifications to be a qualifying offer, dude, and he didn't take it. So here's a draft pick.
Right.
That way, teams. It's specifically for like teams. Like the Miami Marlins, who for the longest time were getting all these great players, and they were either trading away or losing the free agency. So this way, if they lose someone to free agency, they still get a draft pick, so it helps to bolster up their minor leagues. It's all an act of fairness. So a lot of qualifying offers went out. A lot of them denied. We're still waiting to see more. Oh, the only thing I really want to mention is that for the first time in baseball history, the general manager for the Miami Marlins is a woman. Yes, Kim, I don't want to mess up her last name because it's literally NG, and I don't know the best way to say it because I haven't found a good phonetic for that one. But Kim is now the general manager for the Miami Marlins. And it's not like a random hire. She's gone through the many systems already, including being the assistant GM for the New York Yankees under Brian Cashman. It was a hire 15 years in the making. It's been 15 years since she first interviewed for the GM position in Major League Baseball, and opening with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2005. But for baseball fans, this is great because baseball is trying to be as inclusive as possible. Same thing with football. It wasn't like last year or the year before where we had our first female referees on the field. So lots of strides being made. This is great because she's really good. Like, she understands baseball to metrics. That's one reason why she was under Brian Cashman, and she's been in many systems. So I look forward to seeing what happens with the Miami Marlins, and hopefully this will be the end of the Miami Marlins just dropping every great player in these horrible trades and stuff, including like Giancarlo Stanton to the New York Yankees from the Marlins. Thank you, Derek Jeter. You're the best player on the Marlins payroll. I tell you what. Or
what?
Okay,
What?
long story short, Derek Jeter retired. He ended up buying ownership into the Miami Marlins.
Right.
He actually is part owner.
Right.
And then, like, the next year after he gets ownership, the Miami Marlins make a trade of Giancarlo Stanton, who won Rookie of the Year, won the home run derby title and stuff like that. A great player. You know, he's still meshing with the Yankees. We'll see how that goes. But they made a trade where the Miami Marlins still eats up a lot of the contract. The Yankees get him. They only gave up some mid-tier minor leaguers. Pretty much, it was a fucking steal, and a lot of Miami fans were not happy with the owner who helped put this trade together. So, Derek Jeter, this one's for you. And that's all the good stuff for here at the sports page. I'm flashing.
Okay.
Man, you know, keep watching ESPN.
Keep watching ESPN, exactly. All right, so
Oh, that's it. I can't finish that.
we can't finish. Yeah, we'll get shut down. So tonight we had our guests from Task Force Dagger. They came on and shot the shit with us about bringing POWs home, and also talking about their conducting the rehabilitative adaptive events. Patrick Smith served over 12 years in the military with experience in the 82nd Airborne Psychological Operations, and then Mark Stevens retired after serving 21 years in Special Operations. In first were, of course, Special Forces in Okinawa, Japan, and in Fort Bragg, and spent most of the time with the nation's Special Mission Unit. You can go ahead and do the math on that one. And was an operator involved in numerous positions. His combat reward operational deployments include a few deployments to Iraq, a few in Afghanistan, and then of course in Somalia, in Colombia, and in the Balkans. We've crossed paths many a time. He's a good dude. And he is a senior executive director for strategic development. And also volunteering with the Task Force Dagger Special Operations Foundation since 2011, and joined the executive board of directors, as he said before, and then is also a member of the advisory board of the Global Saw Foundation. Dr. Jennifer McKinnon has been working an underwater and terrestrial archaeologist for over 20 years, and she is an associate professor at East Carolina University in Maritime Studies. And so they all got together and linked up and provided this awesome, this is just an awesome venture that just kind of, Pat Smith kind of brought together and brought everybody together with Task Force Dagger and ECU and DPAA. We're gonna have another guest next week. Well, I think we got the next few guests coming up are pretty high profile on the next few Monday editions. What happened to Sarn's time? Do we do any Sarn's time stuff? Next Monday, or the 23rd of November, we're going to have Julia Maki-Praya. She is a National Guards woman, and will be on the Monday edition talking about her recent book, Guardians: Stories of the 2020 Civil Unrest in D.C. Man, I can't wait for stuff like that. I don't want to say I like dumpster fires, but I like dumpster fires. And she describes her experiences in the streets of D.C. protecting the people of our nation's capital and the right to assemble while attempting to stop the destruction of monuments and local businesses. Man, this is going to be a charged night. Everyone's going to all freak out and start talking about. I think we might get zucked. I think this discussion that might get us zucked a couple times. So I don't know. 30 November on Monday. The Discovery.
Bring it on, you curly-haired bastard.
Yeah, the Discovery Channel is going to join the WTF Moments on Monday and talk about the TV show Gold Rush with Fred Lewis. And he'll be on to talk about how he went from being a Special Forces medic to mining gold on TV. I can't wait, man. We're getting, man, the front desk is busting their ass doing this shit. I love this shit. This is what I'm talking about, man. I feel so lucky to be a part of you guys. This is awesome, man. So tomorrow I'll be participating in the Dragon's Lair Dragon Innovation Program. I'm a panelist. with 18th Airborne Corps leadership, and Pete Singer, the co-author of Ghost Fleet and the book Burn It. I can't wait. I already looked at some of the read-ahead sheets of what's going on. There's even some public affairs affiliated stuff that's got all the public affairs people all razzled up. I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. It's all going to be televised. It's going to be on the news. It's going to be on whatever. So you'll see a couple of images, pics, and some of the pitches that the panelists will be hanging out and talking to the finalists as well. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. You got anything you want to say, Flash? Anything else? Any other drama for your mama? Or are you good?
Hey, look, I know you like doing these last words of wisdom, so here it is. Look, we don't know what's going to happen with this election, whether it's going to stand the way it is or it's going to change. All we know is that life is going to continue and it's going to move on. Remember to hold your family close. Be kind to your neighbors. You never know if you're going to need them, and just be safe out there.
My last words of wisdom. I think that's right. I think we need to start coming up with last words of wisdom. So I'm going to say this one right now. Sometimes it's good to take. What is it? What's that? See, I already fucked it up. I'm like W. Fool me once and fool me twice and well, you won't fool me again. Sometimes it's better to take a good walk than a bad stand. So there you go. Y'all have a good night and shouts.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Intergalactic horse, and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. And now they say that they've discovered life up there on Mars, so let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport now, sit back, relax, and watch us through the hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planets of America. Space Force, Space Force. We'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear all manly voices singing Space Force strong. The critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, dum, 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 ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, dum, 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 dum. Space Force, Space Force. We'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Space
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, well, real quick, on 5 October, U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio had a guest from 18th Airborne Corps, Colonel Joe Bacino, and he came on to talk about the Corps Dragon Innovation Program. And it's an initiative open to all soldiers, DA civilians, and family members across the Corps that seeks to kind of uncover and implement new ideas across every aspect of life and service within the Corps. We've already had episode 1, and a soldier went up, pitched his idea, and his idea has been accepted. And now for episode 2, I have been asked to sit as a member of a panel along with 18th Airborne Corps leadership and with Pete Singer, the co-author of the book Burning. I'm pretty excited to be amongst these professionals, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Make sure you pay attention. Make sure you pay attention to all social media on 18th Airborne Corps' Facebook and Twitter. Nah. No way. Dragons aren't real.